Okay, new gem here from Paragon. Is Season 5 worth playing?
Is Season 5 worth playing? Well, shit, it depends. In this video, I'll go through everything we know about Season 5 so far and analyze that shit so you know exactly what's coming, and you can decide for yourself if you want to play it. But in case you're just looking for a quick TLDR, let me give you an overview. So did you enjoy Season...
The overview is Season 4 was better.
Season 4? If the answer is yes, and you're not burnt out yet, then fuck yes, you should play Season 5.
Hell yeah.
I recently made a video bashing the living shit out of the Season 5 PTR.
We watched that one.
Fortunately, though, a German reacted to it as well as a bunch more people having the same view. And it was followed by Blizz cleaning up the massive turd I left at their front door.
A certain German reacted to it. But this guy must have been high.
If you've played the seasons before that and wondering if left...
Bro, this song, man.
Same view. And it was followed by Blizz cleaning up the massive turd I left at their front door. If you've played the seasons before that and wondering if it's a good time to come back, then hell yes. Season 4 was goated as fuck, and it's basically the same, but better. If you did not enjoy Season 4, however, then you're most likely not going to enjoy the new season either, seeing as it's going to be basically the same, just with item changes.
Yeah, I agree
but if
with
you
that.
have any enjoyment left in D4, then this is going to be an awesome season to play. Let's see why. First off, we have the Infernal hordes coming. If you didn't play the PTR, then you basically get these compasses doing random shit in the game, and you can upgrade them
doing random shit.
Unless you're a shit newbie using these scrolls. Either way, you open up the Infernal horde event via the compasses, and then you're
like, this voice is just too funny.
Stuck in here for a few minutes killing stuff. Personally, I hated it, but I'll give it another...
Dude, me too, man. The first time I did this on the PTR, I had to do it on like World Tier 3, and it was so bad, dude. And then we were standing in there for 20 minutes, and then we got one item.
Chance, now that they've made massive improvements to it,
yes,
such as increasing density and lowering time.
I think, like all jokes aside, it's gonna be a good way to farm items, especially target farm greater affixes, but man, it was so dog shit on the PTR.
Next up are a buttload of class and item changes. I'm not going to go through everything, merely the important stuff. As you're not Fortnite players, I expect you can read for yourselves. So, the new uniques.
If I'm just taking a couple of swings at the Fortnite newbies.
You've seen these before, then the important ones got hard nerfed. Let's check them out. First is the Crown of Lucion. This helmet was just too hecking good on the PTR.
Dude, this is just so dead, man.
So Blizz hard nerfed it. It's also annoying to play with, seeing as you need to solve resources, and that's boring as fuck. Either way, 75% damage bonus still makes it the best helm in the game for Big Dam, with Shaco being the second option for defense and more cooldown reduction. Endurant Faith is still shit, but Shard of Varathiel certainly is not.
Shit.
Nerfed from 300 basic skill damage down to 200, it's still the best item in the game for any basic skill build.
Yep.
This pretty much in itself is reviving the nerfed Bash build, Heartseeker, and will boost our bonus splinter build to the fucking moon. Reckonaut's Wake is pretty
this
shit.
is the bonus splinter he was talking about. I'm probably gonna make a build guide. This is a generator necromancer build. Bonus Spirit.
Boost our bonus splinter build to the fucking moon. Reckonaut's Wake is pretty shit, except for a few niche circumstances. For Lokran's Talisman, this was absolutely broken on the PTR and was going to be used in pretty much every build. And now, it's absolutely shit instead. You can probably gain a maximum of 40% crit chance.
I mean, he's alright with this. It just sucks.
And 20% crit
There's nothing like positive about
damage from this, maybe 40. And that's...
Look, man, it even had fucking max resources. Like 27, nap 13.
Competing with an aspect and important passives. So yeah, throw it in the trash. Next we have Wildbolt, which is an interesting aspect, This was insanely trash on the PTR, as it only pulled in one enemy at once. If it's fixed, then it will be godly for a bunch of builds.
Man, in this patch note, it used to be 30% X and 0.5.
Boulder, for example, which has spinning ball sacks around it. Scrolling down a bit, we have Creeping Death. This is a great aspect, and I'll be slapping it onto my Andariel's Visage build. When it comes to the barbs, Unbroken Chain is pure trash, so just salvage that shit.
Yep.
The third blade is pretty great though. If you slap this one, you can spam Deathblow on 0 cooldown, and that's an
this wasn't really that good though.
A-tier build right there that never existed before. The anger management aspect is also great and sorts out berserking for a buttload of builds such as Whirlwind. Definitely go looking for this one. When it comes to the druids, the Basilisk is unfortunately shit, as it's competing with the most important item slot. The new ring, however, is not shit. Previously, it was competing with the glove item slot, but it's now quite godly and will make Cataclysm an actual useful skill. Moonrage can be used for companion druids, along with Spirit Bond. And in case you're wondering if companion druid is finally viable, it's alright. For the cringe lords, we'll scroll down to the new boots. Path of Tragul. We want to slap this onto our Bone Spirit build, as maximum essence increases its damage. It's really goddamn good. The Great Feast is also an alright aspect and could be used in most minion builds along with our Boner Splinter build.
Man, the Great Feast is now the Small Feast. It used to be 115% X. Now it's 45. It was good knowing you 8% Necromancer players. Oh boy. There's gonna be so many of you.
Build. Or rather, builds that doesn't require essence.
Shit.
Next up is the Rogue. The Umbercrux sword was way too strong on the PTR, and it has since been hard nerfed. From 30% damage spread and 2 totems to 20 and 1 totem, it's kind of meh. It's still going to be viable for builds that struggle with AoE, however.
I think it's still going to be very strong.
Such as the new Heartseeker build, for example, seeing as Victimize is deleted from the game, or well, nerfed. We then have this new chest, Shroud of Kanduras. This is a great piece, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that it pulls in enemies. This will make it great for a buttload of builds that struggle a bit with the AoE as well, such as Andariel's Visage, for example. Rogues also got 2 god-tier aspects, first one being this one, of True Sight. This is a great...
This one is going to be insane for killing the Uber bosses, man. Double fucking damage.
Great fucking aspect for nuking bosses, as an example.
Yep.
You can use this with Heartseeker 4, and you'll blow up bosses with ease. Hitting inner sight targets is a bit annoying though, but a fun playstyle. Cold Clip is also godly and more or less saved Heartseeker. And why is that? Well shit, for starters you're always going to freeze enemies, allowing you to benefit from Fidget Finesse. On top of that, you're getting 20% big damage.
I think this one is like really good for most of the Andariel builds as well.
Imbuement itself, and another 30 or so from the Paragons. Without this, Heartseeker would most likely have been a dead build. For the masochistic sorcerers, the Axial Conduit was dog on...
Wait, doesn't Heartseeker get Shard of Iranthiel?
On the PTR, but could be decent. More on that later. Vox Omnium is shit as it's competing with weapons, and the aspects are pretty dog as well. Winter Touch could become a good speed running aspect for frost builds though, blowing shit up as you're
unlucky coin, let's go.
Alright, that's the new aspects and uniques. Down here we have this change being massively important. You're now going to receive full materials when you're playing the pit in a group.
Dude, this is so fucking good.
Previously, only the one that opened it got full materials, and the rest got half or whatever. This alone makes the game twice as enjoyable. Just join the Paragaming Discord and we'll blast some pits together in Season 5. Next up are a buttload of additional class changes. Scrolling down to the Sorcerer, the new unique pants was absolute dog on the PTR. Fortunately though, that was apparently a bug.
It's a good
This could be of interest, seeing as those would have been an instant salvage previously. In the general changes, we have this new temper. A lovely change for all the barbs that have been tempering items on a rogue, huh? Well, unfortunately, the Gushing Wounds key passive was the reason for needing this, and it seems to be completely dead now.
Yeah, but still, we don't have to go on a rogue overall. Crit damage is still good because close damage is also nerfed, don't forget.
But better late than never.
Yep.
It's also going to be important for the sorcerers, but more on that later. This is the new ring I was talking about that was previously on the gloves. This should make Cataclysm much more viable as a skill in general. This is also due to the new ultimate temper, where you can lower your ultimate cooldown. Combine this with increased Cataclysm duration, and you now have a proper skill. For the Necros, the new unique boots are going to be rather godly for Bone Spirit. Funnily enough, though, Bone Spirit was already a godly build. And then they got this. As well as a
Dude, Bona Spirit is gonna be like S++.
Bunch of buffs, which we'll see soon. And yes, even more buffs after the PTR where they were blowing shit up. We also got the Imprisoned Spirits aspect, buffing Bone Spirit ever further. The build will be one of
like, why, you know? Man, they are nerfing pets and then, let's buff Bone Spirit a bit more.
The absolute best builds in Season 5. That's just a fact. In case you've seen the Bone Splinter build, then this could potentially be used in that one as well. We'll try it out.
Wait, Bone Spirit explodes inside Bone Prison. Additional time. That's not gonna be good with Bone Splinter. But man, whenever something does a % of its normal damage, it's usually broken with double dipping, penta dipping, whatever.
I'm not sure if someone at Blizz fucked up here, but I have no idea what minion damage reduction is doing on this temper. All the other ones are about fortifying, and this one is just an instant brick. Someone tell them to remove it. Next up are the rogue changes.
Brick by
the new
brick.
unique for them is Shroud of Khanduras, and we talked about this previously, both pulling in enemies and granting immunity. This one is absolutely fucking bonkers, just saying. Another important rogue change you need to know about is that Flurry is massively buffed and is now an actual skill. So if you're looking for a melee rogue build in Season 5, go Flurry. Yet another massive change to Flurry that came after the PTR is this one. Not the temper in itself, but give me a sec. So this temper right here grants just massive amounts of additive damage. Slap it on everywhere, and it grants thousands upon thousands. Now, if you've played Rogue before, you're probably like, hey man, we play in close quarters though, so I need to temper crowd control damage.
Yeah, it's actually pretty insane. For each stack.
Are you dumb, Mr. Paragaming? Yeah, well, further down is 50% extra damage to the Momentum Key passive.
Are you
so
dumb?
Stay tuned for that. The Rogue Peristance temper is also godly, granting a bunch of health.
Man, the Rogue just has so much crazy stuff, dude.
As it looks, Rogue will be the new Barb in Season 5 when it comes to defensives.
I'm not an
Scrolling
idiot.
down a bit,
Brick.
the new pants for Sork was dog shit, so we'll see what happens after the bug fix. Down here, we can also find a change to the Lightning Rod aspect. This is a pretty good change for Chain Lightning,
That's very nice.
as it's basically a 40% damage aspect on bosses where it's needed. But nothing game-changing. We then have a bunch of boring changes and end up here in the Discharge temper. Arc Lash will be quite strong in Season 5, and it's mainly due to this temper basically doubling its damage.
Oh, this AI is a
needed
savage.
change. The same goes for Hydra and Lightning Spear. They will be viable builds now. Some more shit.
He like somehow like just makes everything like so entertaining and funny, man. Like even reading this patch notes
More
for the
shit.
third time.
This is mainly just useless shit. Read it on your own time. Either it's
Oh,
just
this is shit. That is shit. Okay, this fucking sucks. We're gonna skip this.
small buffs or small nerfs. Now we get to insanely important stuff for the Barbs. The key passives.
Go on.
Unconstrained is getting nerfed from 1.75 to 1.35. This nerf is rough, nerfing 90% of Barb builds.
Why?
The nerf to Unbridled Rage was extremely rough though, And the one-to-walking arsenal was just pure brain dead, seeing as there is not a single weapon swapping build in the game.
What the fuck,
Now,
dude?
if you're new to D4...
Yeah, it's so stupid. Yeah, here's the video, man. Check out Paragaming, dude. It's so funny. This nerve is just brain dead.
Let me give you a history lesson in why these changes are fucking brain dead and why Blizz has to stop doing this. So in previous seasons, Overpower was completely broken, and Barbs can use Overpower, where Hotter was the best build in the game.
It's so
The
sad,
obvious
man.
thing is to nerf Overpower, which they did. But at the same time, they completely gutted Hotter as a skill.
Dude, hotter damage was like, could have nerfed it by like, maybe half, maybe divided by 3. No, they just removed the 0. Divided by 10. The hotter rune is completely gone.
Now, though, they did it the other way around. Thorns, Bash and Flay has been top builds in Season 4. So they gut them, which is fine, and Barb is no longer broken. But after that, every Barb build in the game is halved on top of that.
Yep.
Why? You may ask. I don't know, Mao, you tell me. Either way, Gushing Wounds looks to be completely useless as well. The wording used here is a bit strange, though, and I don't know exactly what it means.
Dude, like this might mean anything at the end, man. Crit chance to increase the bleed amount by 70x, then by 100% plus. We'll see, man. I think it's gonna be damage divided by 50.
Previously, this passive was calculated roughly like this, and is why Bleed was broken. Now it's like this, and I left the last part blank.
Crit chance times 1.7 times brah. What the fuck?
As it looks to just be an additive bonus now, but it could be multiplicative. I don't hecking know. I'll test it as soon Season 5 drops. If it's additive, then all Bleed builds are dead, as we're losing a 30x multiplier or whatever.
Yep.
All right, and then we scroll through some useless changes.
More useless changes.
The Hemorrhage Legendary Node was also capped at 45%,
Oh my god, cap it all, bro.
nerfing bleeding further. We also find a great buff to the Executioner here, and a lot of builds will most likely prefer polearms due to this if we're not running the Granddaddy Uber. These
Granddaddy.
two tempering nerfs are quite massive. A lot of you probably wonder what the hell is going to happen to Bash in Season 5.
What the hell?
Now, Bash Bleed is most likely dead, but regular
But wait, the German guy was still hitting for billions.
Bash will remain a great build despite this nerf. This is mainly due to it being insanely strong as base, and us getting new items such as Shard of Varathiel. I'll definitely blast some Bash in the new season.
Hell yeah.
The protection manual is also an absolutely massive nerf. Previously, we could use this to temper imposing presence everywhere and get hundreds of thousands of life. Well, this is gone now, and we shall suffer. Oh, and Thorns is
Rest in
completely
peace.
dead as a result, as well combined with a few more nerfs. Next up are these kinds of buffs, which is a buff to every class that
And I'm only hearing nerfs with the Barb stuff.
is not a barb, as they will remain the same due to them having more weapons.
Buffs to every class that is not a Barb. Man, what's going on?
The rogues will in turn get an increase per 9 core skill. It's a cool change and will be important in Vessel of Hatred. In this season, though,
Yeah, we'll see what the Spiritborn is gonna have. They kind of dodged that question in the Q&A.
it's mainly just a kick in the
But I
nuts.
think Spiritborn has one less weapon. So maybe Spiritborn every 8 primary core stat.
For the barbs that are already dead, but cool regardless. Here for the druid, there are
Barbs are still cool, but dead. I mean, Paragaming just has such a funny way of putting it. Let's jump here. You can watch the rest of the video. I'm going to link this below, but let's jump to the unique section here.
done. I'll have to spare you a lot of details here, as the changes are too massive and you need to touch grass or whatever. I may make a dedicated unique item video though, but that's up to you if it happens, my man or woman. So, the mythic aka the Uber uniques.
Uber duper.
Every single one of them got buffed, but the most substantial were to those of Starless Skies and Shaco, in my opinion. Starless Skies got all of its stats basically doubled, and they ditched the shitty core damage for core ranks instead.
That's pretty good, man.
This item is now officially God tier. When it comes to the Shaco, someone over at Blizz fucked up and it wasn't in the patch notes. It is now though, so I had to remake my video to show it. Thanks, Blizz. Either way, it's absolute bonkers getting doubled cooldown reduction. For every single multi-class unique.
I think it may have just been like his page not loading. Like somebody fucked up, nah? I think it was just the German internet not working.
This was pretty minor. Buffs across the board basically, but nothing substantial. For Barb, Ramaladni got a pretty massive buff and will be used in more builds for sure. All the other uniques except for one though, still suffers from the same issues as they did previously and will most likely not be used. Here's something hilarious though. The Ramaladni buff that I wanted to show you is not in the patch notes anymore, but it went from a 0.4 multiplier to 0.5 and got a few other
I think his internet is just not working.
The buffs. And the Ring of the Ravenous is also decent. Using brawling skills, you can now apply Rend once per second. This could have become absolutely god tier spamming leap.
Yeah.
Wanna guess why that don't though? Yeah, because of the gutted rumble glyph. Sad times. Okay.
When this guy is a main Barb and Rogue Enjoyer, I think like, oh, guess what? It's been kept.
But now we get to some actual interesting stuff.
I mean, this is a great video here from Paragon, dude. Like,
stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yep. So
Luke here, the outdoor.
He always has such a cool way of putting this stuff, man. So, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.